bring you back to the main story today. Those attacks in southern Gaza, there have been more Israeli airstrikes overnight. We're going to talk to our correspondent, Hani Mahmoud, who's joining us from Rafah in the south, to tell us what's been happening over the last few hours, Hani.
Yes, well, in overnight attacks and early hours of this morning, this time seemed to be concentrated in the central area, as if it's happening just not to leave people and options for safety. We're talking about at the same time people are trying to absorb what happened within the past 24 hours. The attacks on Rafah has hundreds of people started to flee Rafah city, going back to the central area or seeking shelter in the central area. The very particular area they're looking for a refuge and a shelter came under heavy bombardment in overnight attacks and early hours of this morning. We're talking about more residential homes being attacked and destroyed. 5 people in a Nusayrat refugee camp. That's a block 1 at the eastern part of the central area, and then another residential home in a block 2, the western part of the central area. A father and his daughter and remaining family members were critically injured and rushed to Al-Aqsa Hospital. The Al-Bureij refugee camp, another attacks, massive, relentless airstrikes on more residential homes where more critically injured individuals were rushed to the hospital. It just, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably the first time we see an entire large-scale attacks on refugee camps that happened before in the in northern part of Gaza City. But the idea where people are being squeezed in small parts of the Gaza Strip, turned largely into refugee camps, are being relentlessly attacked. But the most tragic things going on right now is in Khan Younis, where for the 17th day in a row, the Nasser Hospital is under military siege, where snipers at the vicinity of the hospital taking positions and shooting at every moving objects. The hospital announced that it ran completely out of fuel. It's now experiencing a complete blackout and power outage, causing a disaster at the ICU, at the operation rooms, as well as causing a great deal of sewage flood in certain departments of the hospital, as there are no power generators, no electricity to drain all the sewage out of the hospital. So this is causing another health risk going on. We're talking about 300 medical staff inside the hospital, at least 450 patients and injuries inside the hospital who are right now risking, there's a risk of losing their lives, as there are no ICU, no operations room functioning properly. And there are also those who've been sheltering inside the hospitals, unable to leave or go to a safer area, as they attempt, if they dare to attempt, they will be shot by the snipers around the hospitals. Rafah also came under heavy artillery shelling, the eastern part of the city, as well as the border line area between Gaza and Egypt, under relentless airstrike targeted farmlands and more of the public facilities in the area.
Hani, thank you very much indeed. That's Hani Mahmoud talking to us from Rafah in southern Gaza.